All right, episode 13. Bismark Boateng, also known as Bizzy, joins the podcast. Bizzy is a Canadian spinner whom has a blazing PB of 10.14 in the 100. He's not only an athlete, but a fellow podcaster. Bizzy is full of wisdom, and I'm so excited for our chat. Without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Bizzy.
Wow, that is a very, very great introduction. I don't think I deserve all that praise, but thank
You're
you
a
so
big deal,
much.
man. You're a big deal.
Thank you so much, Nate, for having me on your podcast. It's an honor to be here.
Of course, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And usually to start, I have my guests give me a frame of reference.
Yeah.
But before that, I want to read you a quote from Matthew McConaughey that I think will really set the tone for our conversations.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to go back to go forward, and I don't mean going back to reminisce or chase ghosts. I mean go back to see where you came from, where you've been, and how you got here.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, let's hear about how it was when you were younger, and how did you get to where you are now?
Wow, that is a very amazing quote. Like you have to go back to see where you were. And I'm a big fan of Matthew McConaughey in a lot of movies. So a little bit about me. My story started for track and field, I would say, when I was in Ghana. In Ghana, the sport we usually play is soccer. So track and field is not as popular. And I was a really, energetic kid, fast kid. And I remember our first track and field trial. It was the first time ever in school. And I remember I was wearing this. I can still see this vividly. I was wearing a white beater. I was wearing yellow shorts. I was wearing a long socks with holes underneath. And I remember the teacher, what do you call it? He was the soccer coach. At the line, he said, this is the first track and field tryout. So whoever wins is like pretty much the fastest in the school. And I was just a little scrawny kid. I probably weigh like 97 pounds in grade four, malnourished and everything. But I had this mental strength that I knew I wasn't going to lose because I was racing against guys who were in grades higher than me. And I remember when he said go, it was it was around 5 a.m. It was during the dawn, and it was pitch black. And all I can remember is like I was zoned in. I was in the state of flow. If you read a book by Angela Duckworth, she talks about flow, where everything just feels so magical, so feels so mystical that you don't feel anything around you. And that's what I felt. And that was my first ever track and field experience. I'm like, well, I like this feeling. I like this feeling. So fast forward, moved to Canada, played soccer, was the fastest kid on the soccer field. It was fun. I played striker. All they do is kick the ball, and I'm like, zoom, gone. And I wasn't very technically sound, but I worked on that. But deep down, the passion for track and field was always there. So I transferred to York University first year, trained for track and field, and I trained my ass out because I knew I wanted to be one of the best on the York team. And I used to go on my laptop, go on the uh, Canadian website, and I'll research Athletics Canada, and I'll look at the athlete's name, the pictures, and I used to tell myself, "Biz, one day your name is going to be there." So I manifested everything I wanted to do, and I got onto the York University team first year. We won the national championship, and that was amazing. It was a big confidence boost. I got called on the national team, and it was a little bit of a turbulent beginning because now you're competing against guys who are the best in Canada. But I just kept my head down, kept believing in myself, and I kept pushing every day. I always tell myself this: all I need is one thing, and everything is going to get better. I always was always optimistic about that one thing that's going to always make me better, and I still hold on to that one thing, and I kept working hard, and I started seeing progress. And 2 years ago, all the hard work showed, and I think there's more of me to come. And but that is the story of how I got involved in track and field, and I'm always looking for that state of flow. And I know you said I ran 10:14. People ask me, how was that race? How was your 10:14 race? Nate, I'm telling you, that race was the easiest race I've ever run. It was so easy. I just got out of the blocks and I thought I was like floating in the like in the clouds. It was like so smooth. And like I'm like, that is the easiest race I've ever run because I was in that state of flow because I worked so hard and that state when everything aligns, mind, body, spirit, it just like it flows. So that's the story about it. I don't want to go too much into it because I'm passionate about it, talking about it, but yeah, that's the story about it.
Yeah, no, and it seems like you really just got thrown into the deep end. And it was really either sink or you swim, and
Yeah.
obviously you swam. And how was it having that team around you at York? And obviously you were very very successful with getting a gold medal
Yeah.
in the 60, and then also the next year following it up with the silver. So how was that having that sense of community during that transition?
Yeah, it was, oh man, it was amazing because the people I had around me, I would say were all better than me. So as someone to look up to, someone to, attain to, I used to look at Dante, Richard Quark, and I'm like, man, I want to be like Dante one day. I look at Gavin Smelly, and Gavin's still a role model to me, right? I look at all these people, I look at Truman Harris, and now he trains so hard. I look at Filippo Say, and he trains so hard. I'm like, you know what? These are the people I have to emulate my goals around. I'm trying to imitate them. So I had those people around me, and I think those people actually push me. And not forgetting my coaches. I had Charles Allen in the beginning. I have Desiree Williams, and those guys, like, it was dog eat dog. When you step on that practice track, you want to be one of the best because I would say we're all the best in Canada. So I had people to emulate. I could see every characteristics of a person to train as hard as Philo say, to be mentally strong as this person, right? So those people push me in the beginning, and even till this day, I try to take a little bit from my competitors, from my teammates, characteristics where I think will help me as a person. Yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now let's fast forward to the 2018 Canadian Championships. As
yeah,
you know, unfortunately, our careers aren't linear. There's speed bumps, there's
yeah,
lows, there's highs, and you
mhm,
finish second place right behind
yeah,
Aaron Brown, and you almost win it.
yeah.
How was that for you, and how was that a springboard onto your 2019 season?
That moment was uh, it was a very relieving moment, I would say, because fast, like a couple of months back, I went to Australia for Commonwealth Games, and I dropped the baton in the relay. And after the whole incident, I had a pep talk with myself, and I told myself, we have to train harder, we have to train better, right, to be one of the best in the country. So that moment motivated me to even train harder, change my nutrition, the way I sleep, everything that I did. So all those emotions I experienced in Australia, I took it for the whole season. And when I crossed the line in Ottawa and my name came on the board first, I thought I won. I went on the field, took off my shirt like a soccer player, which is still instilled in me, like Ronaldo. I wish I did like the zoo like Ronaldo, but I was on the field because I was so relieved because of all those bottled emotions, in Australia. And then before nationals, I think I had the third fastest time in the country. But sometimes when you go on I went on social media and they were projecting Andre DeGrasse to win, Aaron Brown to win, Gavin Smelly to win. And I had the third fastest time in the country and I wasn't even looked at. So I took that emotion, I got mad decisively. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show these people that next time they should put my name in there, right? So it was a bit of a challenge for me. I wanted that respect that I've worked hard, so you need to recognize my talent and my hard work. So everything, all the emotions, I bottled all those emotions to the Canadian national track and field championship. And like I said, when I crossed the line, it was just relieved of all those emotions. And even though I came second, I knew there's more to come from me. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we kind of referred to earlier, adversity is part of it. If you haven't faced it yet, you're going to at some point during
Yeah,
your life. And as I look at it, it isn't easy going through it, but it's exactly what you need in that moment. And
yeah.
how do you look at adversity? And then when you look back on it and in hindsight, what does it mean to you? And what have you learned from your adversity?
Yeah, I have a favorite quote. I'm a lover of quotes. I have a favorite quote that says adversity builds character, and that is the biggest thing, right? I feel like in life, in everything you do, you need to have character. In the low moments, in the high moments, your character determines everything. It determines who you are as a person, right? So adversity, all those adversity, it built my character. It made me more confident. It made me understand that the value of hard work, the value of believing in yourself. In every avenue of life I want to pursue, I know I have to have that character, that confidence, that hard work, that mentality. That I'm always going to be, I'm always going to be successful if I put my mind to it, right? So, like I said, my favorite quote: "Adversity builds character." And everything I do, I make sure I use my, character, my good character, and the good virtues that your character shows.
Yeah, and obviously, I think me and you have talked about mindset before,
Yeah,
and I think mindset is a really important. And the way I look at mindset is a set of beliefs, and these beliefs happen when you're young up until now, right? And we're constantly evolving. What are some of those beliefs that are in your mindset that you find really important to your success, and why are those important?
I think now after COVID and after 2020, I've got to a point where I try to have a Zen state in everything I do, like one body, one mind, one soul, one spirit in everything I do. And I realize when it comes to mindset, it's not the positive mindset that I have to pursue. I realize I had a lot of negative beliefs limiting my potential. You know what I'm saying, right? So now I'm in the state where I'm trying to break all those negative beliefs I've been putting on myself. I've been conditioned to believe that I can achieve this or I can pursue this because I am this, because I am that, or because of what society has projected onto myself, right? For example, swimming, right? I always had this negative belief on myself that because I'm black, I have a lot of muscles, I am this and that, my muscles are denser, I can't swim. And as I got older, I'm like, all these are, some inhibiting beliefs I've put on myself so that I can achieve what I want to achieve or reach my potential. So right now, when it comes to mindset, I'm in the state of, like I said, one body, one mind, one soul, where I'm trying to, break all my conditioning or all the limits I've been put onto myself. Now I use the Socratic method in everything. I question everything, right? I question all my beliefs, everything, to, just so I can be a better individual and I don't limit myself to my potential or how great I could be one day, right? So that's the state I am right now, the Zen state of one body, one mind, one soul, and questioning everything just to be a better individual and a better person in society. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think I really connect with those negative beliefs because I think for a part of my life, I really thought life was happening to me, not for me.
Yeah.
And COVID really opened my eyes to that, that there's so many people, having worse circumstances than us, people who
Yeah.
have better circumstances than us. But at the end of the day, we just need to own our life. And I think, people can do things to us and we can fail. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's always something we could have done better to help that outcome. And also like to, if something's a red light, you need to turn it into a green light. And
Yeah.
so I think that's something that COVID has taught me. Have you learned kind of a certain thing?
100%. Everything you said, I absolutely agree with. I have another saying that I like that says, "Nothing happens to you; it happens for you." That means you have to take an ownership of your experiences and of your life. You have to have a positive outlook. You have to have your character has to show when those moments are down. And right now I'm very into philosophy. And if you take philosophers like Socrates, Aristotle, recent philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche, Karl Marx, they all always talk about controlling the narrative. Don't let the narrative control you. And that's what I think I love about philosophy, because it makes you question everything and think outside of the box, right? You don't become victim to the situation. You control the situation, because we have that power, we have that potential to change the narrative, the narrative of our life and our destiny. So yeah, everything you said, 100% agree with you.
Yeah, and as the way I look at it is that performance is like a painter's palette. We need to
Yes.
have all these different tools to pull from, and mental health and mental performance is something that has been extremely important. I feel like over the last 10 years, it's just been talked about. What does your mental performance look like, or your mental strategies look like? And when do you implement those? Is it more of a daily thing, or is it before races? Kind of give us a snapshot on what that looks like.
Uh in the beginning of my career at Rice University, I met an amazing coach who had a big influence on my life. His name was Ivan Joseph. And I was just a kid from, from the hood, who wasn't disciplined enough. And he introduced me to mental health through meditation and visualization. Ever since then, before every race, I will visualize my race and how it's going to play out. Before the national race in 2018, I knew how it was going to play out, because I've already ran the race in my head. I just went there and I just felt the sense of flow, right? So now I'm trying, like I said, in every aspect of my life, I'm trying to have that Zen state. I'm not trying to, use meditation when I think I need it. I'm trying to make my life about meditation, just being in the moment, carpe diem, like seizing the moment. Everything I do, seize the moment, stay in the moment, not dwell on my past. So right now, every day I try to meditate in the morning. That is like the more formal way of meditating in the morning, just to get my mind right for the day. And as the day goes on, if my mind drifts away, I try to tell myself, you gotta stay in the moment. You gotta focus on your breathing, like, just get back to it. So I'm trying to make a meditation part of my life, right? So that when I go in the race, it's just part of me. It's not something I have to do because I need it. And I got the idea from reading Phil Jackson's 11 Rings. He's a Zen master, and he talked about how, as an athlete, you have to have one connection with your body, your mind, your spirit, and your soul in order to reach your full potential. Once everything is connected, competing will not be, in the sense that, oh, I want to beat this person, I want to do this thing. It just becomes like an enjoyment moment. You just want to show how good you've been trained, how good you've been, to yourself, to put yourself in that situation. So right now, I'm trying to have a Zen state, in my competition, I practice. I don't want to put too much on myself, like, feel my ego and all those things. I'm just trying to enjoy the moment, seize the moment, and let the results, just come. I feel like when you enjoy the moments, the results, because the results is inevitable. You can't control the narrative or the result. You can control what you can do in the process, and the result will just come. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think flow and focusing on the process are things that are really interchangeable. And why I keep bringing
Yeah.
up Matthew McConaughey is because I just read his book, and he was saying that his best performances come from when, on the last day of filming, he says, "See you guys tomorrow," and they're like, "Matthew, we're done recording." And he
Yeah.
said he was so in the moment that he just forgets. And like you said, some of your best performance has come from that. Can you kind of tell us how you focus on the process? Because it's really hard to, win each day instead of looking at those short-term gains,
Yeah.
instead of really looking at that long-term gain.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's so hard. I think, well, we live in a society right now that society glorifies success, right? If you go on social media, there's a glorification of success. If you go everywhere, TV, everything, success is glorified, but they don't show you what takes the person to be successful, right? So now everyone is thinking about the results, I want to post my results. I want people to see I'm successful, this and that. So the process of, getting there gets lost. And for me, the way I stay in the process is I don't think about the result. Like I said, I just go into training with a plan of what I'm supposed to do the day. I always do everything with a purpose. I have a deliberate practice. Everything I do, it has to have a purpose. If you see me jogging, I'm jogging with a purpose. I don't jog for the fun of it, right? So everything I do, I try to have a purpose to every little thing I do. It keeps me engaged. It keeps me entertained because I know I'm not doing things, just for the fun of it, right? And I feel like once you focus on the little things like your nutrition, your sleep, taking naps, taking your supplements, all those little things, it becomes a grander things because it's going to help you with the results that everyone is, trying to achieve. Everyone is trying to glorify this success, right? But you have to take care of these little intricate things. And for me, like I said, I do everything with a purpose and it keeps me on track. So I don't focus on the result because I know it's going to take care of itself once I take care of what I can control, right? So basically, control the controllables and don't worry about, the results. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you set daily goals? Like for me, I have this thing called the four keys where it's my goal, my motivation, and my commitment.
Yeah.
And so and my plan for the day. And so that's something that I do every day in my journal. Do you have any similar techniques that you follow?
No, I don't. I don't really. I don't write down my techniques that I follow. Once I get to practice, I usually know what I'm supposed to do because I have the workout for the week. So I have a mental plan of what I'm supposed to accomplish, and I'll talk to my coach. Hey, coach, what do you need from me from this workout? What do you need from me from this drill? My coach tells me we calibrate, and now we have an understanding. So my coach knows what I'm doing, and I have complete faith in him because I know what he's trying to make me accomplish, right? So the talk between my coach, it gives me a lot of confidence. So every day I go to practice, I ask my coach, what do you need from this workout? And I always ask questions. Like I said, I take the Socratic method to everything. Everything I do, I ask my coach questions, and my coach is an amazing, amazing person. He's very intelligent. He's so humble at the same time. Every question I ask, he sits down and he breaks down everything from philosophy to science to track to everything. We talk about everything. So we have that relationship where I could talk to him about everything. So, that relationship really helps. It gives the confidence to the athletes and to the coach. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, you're coached by Coach Boo now
Yeah.
down at LSU. How has that transition been from being just outside of Toronto and now you're now you're in the States in Louisiana getting some Cajun cooked food and running fast.
Kitchen. No, I stay away from the food. The food is too, it's kind of too unhealthy for me. So I kind of stay away from the food. But the transition to LSU, it's been great. And the transition to LSU, I actually manifested that because a couple of years ago, I was sitting with my good friend Roland. I'm like, no, Roland, I think one day I'm gonna be training here. Like I felt like it was calling for me. And 3, 4 years later, I got the opportunity to come down here. So I know it was on my path to what I want to accomplish. And the transition has been great. Like I said, my coach is an amazing person. I love every minute around him. And being at LSU, being at Baton Rouge, now one of my favorite hobbies is going fishing. The first day I went fishing, I caught a bluegill, and I think that was like the beginner's luck. I'm like, damn, I like this. I like fishing, like because you have to be patient, and you have to be patient. You have to wait until the fish, bites, the bait. And I feel like that's the thing with life. Sometimes you need a lot of patience to achieve what you want to achieve. So I just go fishing, read my book, just stay in, be around nature, and I love nature. I like the trees, listen to the birds. It just gives me a calm feeling away from Toronto where everything is a little bit convoluted and the weather and this and this and that. So down in LSU, I feel like, I have a great connection with like my mind and my spirit because I'm around the people or the environment, I think is going to nourish me to be as successful as I want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and as I'm sure you're aware, there's this thing called a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And as I know, you definitely constantly keep on learning and learning. And I'm interested, has Coach Boo taught you anything like drastic that you really have found to be pivotal in your road to Tokyo, or has it been more kind of a small things that he's just kind of placed here and there?
Wow, Nate, I think you should be a sports psychology major because the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, you coming right into my arena. Yeah. Uh I mean, being around Coach Boo, every day is a learning process for me. Every day. There isn't one key that is going to change everything. So every day has been a learning process. And I have this time with Coach Boo where every day I make it a point to ask him a question about anything, about politics, about philosophy, about science, about track and field and everything, right? So I'm not just learning about track and field, I'm just learning about life in general. I'm just, taking knowledge from an inexperienced, knowledgeable person, right? So every day around Coach Bull is a learning process. And I tell you, Nate, every day I learn something new. And I make it upon myself to do that because, like I said, I want to have this Socratic method to everything where I have to question everything, question my beliefs, question everything I do, it's just so I can have an understanding. Because, like, a person who thinks he knows nothing at all. And like Socrates said, a fool is the one who thinks he knows everything, right? So, I say to myself, I don't know anything. So I'm going to ask questions because, I don't know. I don't be ignorant. So I want to know. So that I keep asking questions about everything. And everything has been, like you said, a growth mindset. I learned a lot about myself, about the world, about people's experience every day, and about track and field too, every day. And I think with everything I'm learning from Coach Boo, I know one day if I get an opportunity to help other athletes or to be a coach or a mentor, I think I'm going to be a very good one because I'm learning from the best. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, as you know, like we have passions off the track as well. And
Yeah.
what are those passions for you? Because I think one thing that I'm sure your coach does really well is that he learns what makes you tick, and he
Mhm.
really pulls on those when he needs to. So, what are some of those passions outside of track, and what do you want to do post track and field?
Right now, I feel like I go from I go from passion to passion. I'm very greedy, right? I'm very greedy in like when it comes to track and field and what I want to pursue. But I have some other low level goals or low level passions where I switch from passion to passion. I started a podcast during COVID because I wanted people to share their experiences so we can learn and from each other. And I moved away from the podcast because I wanted to feed my soul and feed my mind. So now I do a lot of reading. Like I said, I love philosophy. Philosophy is something I like. I'm reading now. I'm reading this book by Phil Knight called
Great
Shoot.
book.
Book is amazing. It tells you how success is not a linear thing. Life is not very linear like society makes it to be. Like we glorify success, but it takes a lot of sacrifice and a lot of resilience to get to where you want to be. So right now the passion is basically just reading and nourishing my mind and my soul and my spirit. Reading books about meditation, about other religions, Zen, and everything. And after track and field, I when I was younger, track and field was an end for me. I said, I'm going to make money from track. I'm going to have all these medals. I'm going to be successful and good. But as I got older, I realized track and field for me is a means to an end for me. And I think the end for me is always being able to help other people, being able to be of service to people. I know, all those personal goals like the gold medal, the money, it's all good. But I believe what you do for others is more important than like all those personal goals and what you do for yourself. So I know the end goal is to help other people, athletes, just the ordinary people, the youth, so they can reach their potential, be as or successful as they can be. So I want to use my experiences from track and field, sacrificing everything, moving from Toronto to Baton Rouge, living by myself. It's lonely, but I know that's what's going to take. That's the sacrifice it's going to take for me to achieve what I want to achieve. So I want to use my experiences growing up in Ghana, moving to Canada, share my story with people. I think stories resonate with people. That's why when you read books like The Shoe Dog, you get caught up in it and you're like, wow, it resonates with me, right? So I want to use my experiences. It could be in the form of a professor, sports psychologist, community activist. As long as I'm in the service of people, I'm giving my experiences to nourish people, to build people. I think that is what I'm looking for. And I think track and field right now is a means to an end for me. And the end, I have a picture of it, but I don't know what straight path is going to take. But I know I'm going to be of service to people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one really big thing, aha moment for me in my career was figuring out why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And that was to help further and motivate the next generation of Paralympic athletes. Because at the end of the day, for me, if I'm involved in something that's bigger than me, then I'm never going to be bigger than it. And I'm going to continue to working hard every single day, day in and day out. And do you have a why, or have you thought of that yet? And if so, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, why I do it is, I think the experiences and the challenges from track and field. I feel like in track and field, you're gonna have more low moments than the ups, right? And I feel like the experiences and the challenges, like we talked earlier, it builds character, and the character you have, you can apply it to everything you do in life. So the why I do it, I think, is for those character defining moments of myself, learning about myself, learning about relationship with people. I think when you have relationships with people, with your coach, your teammates, you go through adversity, but all those things, it teaches you about yourself. How do you handle working with someone who doesn't want to, work with you? How do you handle all this adversity, right? You're going to have that in track and field. You're going to have teammates who will talk to you. You're going to have teammates who will be like your best friends. You're going to have all those relationships. And everything you go through, it teaches you a lot about yourself and how you can handle your relationship with people. So for everything in track and field, I think it builds character because you go through so much adversity. And that's what I got from track and field. A couple of years ago, would I have this mindset? No. But as I'm experiencing it and I'm getting older, I'm getting a little bit wiser, I'm having a broader mindset when it comes to track and field. Like I said, track and field is a means to an end for me, and the end is always to be in service of people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think Kobe Bryant says it's best that sports is simply a metaphor for life, and I think that's so important, and it's obviously taught both of us so much. And now I have 5 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
The first one is, if your life was a movie, what would be the title?
If my life was a movie, what would be the title? I would say, oh, yeah, that's a good question. I'm not really good with rapid fire questions. I always have to think about everything. Uh, One word I would say resilience. Yeah.
Love it, love it. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh my God, favorite book. I've read a lot of good books. I can choose one. I feel like I'm deceiving the other. So I'm going to say right now, The Shoe Dog, and I have a book called The Book of Meditation. That book I take everywhere I go. Yeah, Shoe Dog. I'll say yeah. Book of Meditation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you shared one of your favorite quotes, but do you have another favorite quote?
Oh man, my head is filled with quotes. When I was in high school training for track and field, I remember I was running. I was running maybe a 200, 400. And I was so tired, and I had one more rep to do. And my guidance counselor was our coach. He knew nothing about track and field, and he said, "Biz, right? When you're tired, the last one is what counts." And it always stuck in my head, like, it doesn't matter, how many reps you have. When you're tired, that's when you have to push. So when you're tired, the last one counts. Yeah.
Absolutely. Best piece of life advice you've ever received?
Best piece of life advice I ever received was from my coach, and he said, question everything. Have that mindset. Question everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one right there. What has kept you busy off the track during COVID?
What kept me busy off the track during COVID? I was doing the podcast, kept me busy, and reading. I don't know. I just got into reading. I just love just being away from like everything and just being stuck in the book and just reading. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I have two final questions.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, and what's the name of your podcast?
Okay, so right now I'm taking an hiatus away from like social media, from the podcast. I just, like I said, I'm in Baton Rouge. I'm around nature, and I would just want to be around the environment. So right now I'm not really on social media. I took a break from social media just to, focus on reading and just being around like the environment I like. So where people can find me, social media, but I go there, check once in a while to see my messages. But the podcast, I'm taking a break from the podcast to pursue other passions, and hopefully in the future I'll be back on the podcast. It's called I Am, and This Is My Story podcast. Yeah.
Awesome. The last question that I ask every guest is, what do you want your impact to be on the world?
Ah, man, what do I want my impact to be on the world? I think I want to have such a great impact on the world, in the sense that one day, when I'm not in this world, my legacy of being in service to people will still be around, or will still have an effect on people. Like when you're living and you do all these things, like the great philosophers, like Karl Marx, Aristotle, Plato, and all of them, they didn't know how important their legacy was gonna be, right? Until they were gone, right? So I want to have a legacy on the world, in the sense that when I'm gone, I want to have that effect on people. When they mention the name, they'll remember that he was in service of the people. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. It was truly an honor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Nate. It was a pleasure to be here. And I hope you keep on doing this great podcasting. I know how hard it is, because I was in your shoes. You just have to keep on pushing, And I wish you the best. Thank you very much.